Frank and Woodrow Ransonette are both accused of kidnapping Dallas socialite Amanda Dealey in a dramatic 60-hour ordeal last month. The victim herself was absent, reportedly out of state. A deputy unbound the two men as they faced their first courtroom scene with Dallas County prosecutors Doug Mulder and Norman Kinney, who say they'll seek the maximum sentence on the Ransonettes if the grand jury indicts them. Defense attorney Dennis White asked Judge Robert Cole to lower the stiff $100,000 bonds to $10,000, but the judge turned him down.
Taking up
our attorneys and
Marvin Arnold, owner of a flying school at GSW, blamed poor management by the Aviation Board for killing Greater Southwest's chances. As an example, he said, you can't buy fuel out there. You can't even get a plane serviced when you need to. On another subject, Fort Worth City Fathers heard the plight of women pleaded by Mrs. Linda Broiles, speaking on behalf of the Women's Political Caucus and the National Organization of Women.
I don't think that the City Council makes themselves aware of the number of women and the number of people that are qualified to serve on their commissions and boards. Some of them are very highly specified, the Plumbers Commission and the Electricians Commission and so forth. There are women that are plumbers and electricians, but fewer than there are men, but there are boards that do not have those qualifications other than citizenship in Fort Worth.
Well, why haven't women been selected to serve on boards in the past?
I can't tell you that. I can only conjecture, in my opinion. I just think that usually people in power do not make themselves aware that women are other than housewives, although housewives are qualified too.
Both Arnold and Mrs. Broiles have been invited to continue discussions with city officials. Bob Gooding, Channel 8 News on the Move from Fort Worth.
Well, we'd like to build some football fields and some baseball diamonds. Also, we'd like to put in some riding trails, bridle paths, and we'd also like to maybe later on put in a swimming pool. We have, like I told you a while ago, we've got the money already appropriated for it, and that's about it. But we would like to keep it in the city limits because of the fact we don't want to charge people to come to it. I mean, we also plan on having a rifle range down there.
I think they're going to get stuck instead. I was down there.
Oh, it's just a little snap wrist shot, you know, from 25, 30 feet away from the net.
Is it because it's an easy shot for you, or is it difficult?
Well, it's easy to get away, and it surprises the goaltenders an awful lot.
What's the hardest shot for you to execute?
Well, the hardest shot is probably a slap shot because you got to take so much time to get it away, and you got to know where the net is. You got to get your accuracy down and everything like that.
Do you have to look for different things from various goaltenders, or do they all play it pretty much the same way?
Mostly all the goaltenders play the stand-up type of game, and mostly all goaltenders are weak on their stick side or low on their glove side, or
Right.
or, but my got a philosophy is just saying to shoot the puck and the goaltender's got to stop it if it's on the net. Doesn't matter if he's good or bad.
Keep the pressure on him.
Right, exactly.
Yes, in the University of Houston game, we shot the ball better than we have all year, and I was happy to see that because we've been very inconsistent in our shooting. In fact, on the game against the University of Texas de El Paso, the game's even at the half, and we come out to start the second half and we go 6 minutes without scoring. And this has been one of our problems, our inconsistency in our offense. And I hope that Houston game will change that picture.
There are no breathers looking on down the road at the rest of the schedule, and what about a couple of the teams coming up in the near future?
Well, people that are interested in basketball in the Dallas area should really come out and see some of the teams that we've got coming in here. We have University of Missouri, and right now they're undefeated. They're 11-0, ranked about 5th or 6th or 7th in the national polls. And then we have Kansas State coming in here, and they have an outstanding basketball team. They lost in the finals to Missouri in the Big 8 conference tournament. They have lost 2 ball games, I think. They're about 8-2. So we've really got some fine teams coming in here. And then, of course, we have to go to University of Oklahoma next week also.
Jim, this is our supermarket group that we have here. These students right now are working on departmental registration with the cash registers, and each student has a certain period of time which they perform a number of functions with the registers.
How many students has the jobs program put to work so far?
So far in our program, we have had 122 students hired, and we have 89 that are so far already out on the job.
Wasn't this a $250,000 kind of a test project?
Approximately. The program has been running for some years now, but this is the largest program in Dallas that's been attempted at this time.
I understand upstairs you have another group working.
Yes, we do, in the retail group.
All right, let's take a look at them.
This class, Jim, is our retail class, and they're working on some math problems today as it relates to the retail business.
Now, the classes that the jobs program produces, what would you estimate it will take for them to earn in order to just simply repay the government for the cost?
I would say that they're continuing on the job for approximately 6 months would certainly repay the government for what they're attempting to do with this program, which is take people who are economically disadvantaged and give them the opportunity through training and through close supervision on the job to enter the mainstream of employment.
Children who are 5 years 7 months old by the 1st of September can go to Dallas Public Schools. For 2 years, only educationally handicapped kids could enter school. Beginning in the fall, all children who have reached that age will be put into classroom with 6-year-olds. Since the Dallas School District is moving toward an ungraded system, these classes will be called multi-aged classes. Since this is all very confusing, I talked with Mrs. Frances Allen, Deputy Assistant Superintendent for Early Childhood Education. She says it's really not a first-grade class.
This is moving into the state kindergarten program. They, in 1969, when this went into effect, they said in 73-74, we will begin taking all children, and we'll be taking the 5-year, 7-month-old child and matching that number of children with an equal number of 6-year-olds, or what we've normally known as the first graders, and forming sections with an equal number of 5-year-olds and an equal number of 6-year-olds to better individualize instruction for those children.
These first-year students will start by using kindergarten-level materials, but depending on the child's learned skills, he can progress at his own rate. This gives the child a chance to develop emotionally with kids his own age and be exposed to materials that match his skills.
And he's pulling vegetables across the street, and he has a turtle on what? Wheels. Isn't that nice? Okay. And you tell me what this is. Good, very good, very good. By 1977, all 5-year-olds can begin attending public schools. Although enrollment and attendance will not be mandatory, it will be up to you, the parents, to decide if your child is to get a head start in life. For Channel 8 News on the Move, this is June Gray.
Okay.
To the public and the
The second major fire of 1973 in Forney took the life of one firefighter. 19-year-old Randy Morris of Forney died while fighting the blaze at Cunningham's AG Food Store in the downtown area. The young man, who was a student at Eastfield College in Dallas, was killed when a large sign in front of the building fell on him as he helped firemen from Forney, Mesquite, and Terrell extinguish the second of two fires, which led most people to suspect arson.
The first of 5 alarms was sounded just about 10 o'clock last night. As units arrived, they successively called for other Azle Fire Department equipment and then assistance from neighboring fire departments. The Ideal Printing Company at 140 Main Street in Azle was little more than a burned-out shell by the time the blaze was finally squelched about 3 o'clock this morning. Damage to that building is estimated at $20,000, and for a time, a neighboring dry cleaner's was also threatened. Larry Flynn, owner of the print shop, had just received zoning permission last night from Azle City Fathers to build a new shop, and he had some of his new equipment already in the building which burned. The only injury of note was to Azle Fire Chief Don Eastwood, who suffered cuts on both hands. One other note, though, if you don't get a bill from Flynn this month, you're on your honor. Some of his statements may have gone up in smoke. Jerry Taft, Channel 8 News, reporting.
The accused kidnapper sat stony-faced as a special FBI agent who asked not to be filmed testified that he found the Ransonette brothers in a Garland house with an empty ransom bag and $250,000, the exact amount of money exchanged for Amanda Dealey's safety. The brothers claim innocence. After sheriff's deputies shuffled the prisoners back to jail, I asked their attorney if he had wanted Amanda Dealey to testify today.
Certainly would have been beneficial to me in preparing their defense if she had been here.
Did you try to subpoena her?
No, I'm not. She's been a victim of a crime. My heart reaches out to her. I'm not going to ask her to come to court. That's the job for the state of Texas.
The Dallas County Grand Jury will decide next week if there's enough evidence against the Ransonettes to indict them on kidnapping charges. Martha McIntire, Channel 8 News on the Move.
That was it.
First, we'll have
and would be 11 over 32. What would I do there?
hard work.
Can I reduce?
Well, in arbitration, the decision of the arbitrator is final and binding, whereas in mediation, it's an advisory type of situation where the mediator recommends and tries to bring about a compromise.
Now, I understand the American Arbitration Association has come up with a new idea to expedite, if you will, arbitration. How do you plan to do it?
Under this new system, which is going into effect today, hearings may be scheduled within 2 weeks after the request for arbitration, and a decision handed down in 5 days. Furthermore, we will have a rotating panel of arbitrators where the panel has been approved by labor and management, and an arbitrator will be assigned on a case-by-case basis.
What is this going to do to the time in settling disputes?
It will increase, there will be a much faster decision from start to finish, no more than about 19 days, as opposed to the conventional arbitration, which will still stay in place, which takes quite a bit more time.
Has this program put at least a dent in the unemployed of this city?
As far as this one program is concerned, Jim, the answer would probably have to be no. However, the concept of the JAWS program, if it's carried on, could very well go a long way in helping to solve some of the serious unemployment problems in Dallas.
Now, this would also be available, you say, to people outside of Seagoville, like Kleberg or Dallas, nearby
Dallas area, right? Wilmer, Hutchins, Ferris, anyone that's in the town that wants it, or anyone in the state as far as that goes.